Much for thank you. Thanks for rescheduling. I'm going to be honest. We had a day off last week, and we were out in the middle of nowhere, so I completely just went away.
No, that's fine.
For some reason, I had.
Thank you very much. Anyway, I sat there for half an hour. I thought, I have sent the link correctly, haven't I? I am on the right day.
Sorry, man. But thanks for reaching. I do appreciate it.
That's all right, not a problem. How are you?
I'm good. We're currently in Whitley Bay at the moment on tour, so nice little kind of seaside town. Go and grab ice cream before the sound check.
So let's get started. So, what was your exposure to theatre and performing growing up?
Well, theatre-wise, not actually an awful lot, to be honest. I grew up in the West Coast of Scotland, and we had maybe like pantos and sort of like what did I go and see? The Singing Kettle. Used to go and see the Singing Kettle as a kid, and then just pantos and things. I think that was like sort of the extent of my theatre life. But music-wise and things, my dad was a performer, and a singer, played guitar in bands and stuff, and I kind of grew up around that. So that's kind of how I got into all the music side of things and stuff like that. So yeah, it was sort of a kind of family thing, and then theatre came later on in life. I joined sort of a couple of amateur dramatic groups in my local area, and then just fell in love with musical theatre, I guess, and it went from there.
Yeah. So what point did you realise that you could sing and could potentially do this as a profession?
God, I mean, well, I knew I realised I could sing when I was about 14, I think. And then I started going out with my dad and his band and things like that, and done that sort of thing for a little while. And then, I don't know, was I 20, 21, I think, when I started the amateur dramatic societies, and then realised actually this is really fun, it's really enjoyable, and I want to, pursue it more. And by that point, I'd already, done sort of auditions for like X Factor and boy bandy type stuff and pop things. And so when I was younger, and I guess I wanted to go down that road. And then it wasn't until the Amdram stuff came in that I thought, musical theatre's pretty good. And and I went down that road. So and then Britain's Got Talent came along, and the rest is history.
So what made you want to go on Britain's Got Talent?
So as I said, I had auditioned for lots of different things up until that point. And I'd auditioned for X Factor a few times and thought, this isn't working, but I still want to try. I still want to be in the industry. I still want to do it as a job. And so I saw Britain's Got Talent as a way to do that. Yeah. Thankfully, because obviously the likes of Susan Boyle had been on the show before, and Paul Potts were both sort of different type of singer, or different type of singers. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And I just thought, I'll try it out and see what happens. And it went well. So thankfully.
What was that experience like, being on a big national TV show performing in front of people like Simon Cowell and then millions of people at home? What was that experience like? It
was quite strange, because obviously at the time I hadn't done anything like that before, and so I think it was just really strange. But I thought, I was just like, just get it done, do as you're told, and try your best. Like, I don't know. I was trying to be really positive at the time, because I was like, I need to do the best I can and show the best side of myself and all that sort of thing. Because I know, like, I do get nervous, and sometimes, when we're nervous, we can't control what happens, and I just thought, practice and do all that sort of thing, and make sure your material inside and out, and then see what happens. And thankfully nobody was mean to me. No judges said any negative things. I was fine. I was all right. It was good at the time, and that was so I loved it. I actually really enjoyed the process and got to meet some lovely people who, some of them are still friends of mine as well, which is nice. And it's just obviously changed my life as well, so It's good.
So you managed, not only did you get to win it, but you managed to get to the finals. You're standing on that stage waiting for the winner to be announced. What was that moment like? You know, standing on the stage, the winner's about to be announced. Was there maybe a point where you thought, this could be me?
Actually, to be honest, the entire time I thought I'd lost, because I in the final of the show, it was myself and a boy called Ron Park, and pardon me, and he was, you know, a little 12-year-old kid who could sing, and he was pretty cute, and I was like, this is lovely, and I just thought, you know, I'm going to lose, but I was fine with that at the time because I really liked him, and he was a lovely wee guy, and his mum and dad were lovely, and I was just like, do you know what? I never thought I was going to get second, so. And then because that's, well, if you watch the clip when they announced my name, I genuinely lost. I was just like, oh my God, what's happening? Because I didn't expect it at all. So it was a bit random, but a good random.
Yeah. So how quickly after winning Britain's Got Talent did your career pick up and work started sort of coming in? Was it pretty?
Straight away. Straight away. So you sign up with a management company and things like that, and they start getting you work in, and I went from the show to do a lot of press and things like that. But we actually, as well, we toured with the show as well, straight after. So yeah, pretty much the day after, I guess.
And what would you say in your career? Is anything that you haven't done yet that you'd like to do in your career? I mean, you've done a lot already. You've done Pantos, you've toured, but is there something that you think, I'd like to do that?
Oh yeah, there's lots. Like, there's so much things I would love to do, and I think as I progress in the industry, I realise there's things that I didn't even think I'd want to do that now I want to do. So like, I'd love to pursue acting. I'd love to sort of go down that road, and so I've been working on that recently, which is good. And then just, you know, do things like that, like musical theatre. Obviously, is something I'd love to do. I was fortunate enough to do a one-night performance in London of The Pirate Queen a few years back, just before COVID, and I was like, it's great, and I love the process and the rehearsal process, and so that's one of them. But also like TV stuff. I'd love to do some TV. I don't know, just anything really. I'm quite open to doing anything that kind of comes, I guess, if it feels right at the time or whatever, because life is short, and you know, there's a whole world out there of things that I could do. I don't know why this just popped into my head. I'd quite like to firewalk.
Okay.
Nothing career-wise, but I'd just like to try and do all the kind of, I don't know, they're just I've jumped out of a plane, so don't have to do that. But yeah, I don't know, just there's lots that could be done. A world tour would be nice with either myself or with a group or with a production or whatever. I'd like to tour. I've never really done anything in America. I'd like to maybe go out there at some point whenever it kind of calms down a bit over there. Crazy people. But yeah, just whatever. Just up for anything.
So in your job, you're always using your voice. And I studied musical theatre at uni, and you know, we were constantly taught how important it is to look after your voice. You know, especially on your days off and that. How do you look after your voice and keep it, you know, ticking over?
That's just this. No, I am about that. Yeah, I do hydrate a lot. It's actually, a lot of people take the mickey out of me because I always have to run to the toilet because I just drink a lot of water, especially when I'm performing, because I think to myself, if I know I'm hydrated enough, then I feel safe and I'm okay. And then obviously, you know, if I'm not feeling so great, or I've had a run of shows and I'm a bit tired or whatever, then I'll hydrate more. And then just, you know, warm up, cool down. Sometimes I steam, not as much as I should probably. Vocal coach will kill me for that, but anyway, just that sort of thing. Like, just keep hydrating, keep practicing. And the good thing, like, I love, especially with like new songs, like I love the rehearsal period, and I love getting a song in your body so that, you know, there's like, because it's funny. We're at the end of I'm at the end of another tour at the moment, and the beginning of the tour, some of these songs that we sing now were quite difficult, whereas now I'm like, oh, I know how to hit those notes, even if I'm not feeling 100%. So it's just practice and making sure the song's there and in your body, and you can feel it, and just knowing my instrument as well. Like, there's times where people will always say to me, like, oh, could you teach such and such how to sing? And I'm like, no, I can't. And they always look baffled because they just assume that I can, but I'm like, no, I know my voice, I know my body, but I just don't know. I don't know if I have the, but it's probably a confidence thing because I've got the knowledge, but it's just, you don't know anybody else's body and things like most of the time if somebody asks for tips, I'm just like, hydrate, drink lots of water, hydrate and practice and you'll be fine. Because other things, you never know. But yeah.
I mean, over the past year, I've been sort of listing roles I'd like to play, but also thinking to myself, I can sing, but I'm more of a character performer. So I'd love to play Valjean in Les Mis. But my voice wouldn't carry that, vocally. It'd wreck my voice. I can sing the show, but I'm more of a Thénardier than a Valjean. And some people keep saying, "Oh, do Valjean. Why don't you do?" I said, "Well, I can't because I'd wreck my voice. I can't hit that."
Yeah, and that's it. I guess it's just knowing. It's knowing what you can and can't do. It's knowing where your voice will and will not go. And it is it's so. For instance, like myself, I'm too old now for Marius. Yeah. So it's just knowing where your casting bracket is, I suppose, and going with it. Although I do sing empty chairs, empty tables in this show, but meh.
Would you like to play a role like Valjean or the Phantom? Is that something that you'd like to have a go at one day, for the opportunity?
Yeah, I would love to. As I say, I'm open to pretty much anything, and I have auditioned for Jean Valjean a couple of times. I just haven't got it, unfortunately, but it's just, that's one of the things. It's just working on the things that need working on, really. And as I say, I've been doing a lot of training, acting wise, and things like that. And thankfully, my voice is there, so I've always got that, kind of behind me. But acting wise, obviously, I didn't train formally at a school or anything, so I don't have that. It's just been sort of life experience, as they say. So I've been kind of working on the acting side of things recently, with the hopes that in the future at some point I will be able to transition into either, as I say, musical theatre or plays or even TV. I've got a few friends who have moved from musical theatre to TV, and it's sort of been like, well, if they can do it, why can't I? So it's that kind of thing.
Any pre-show rituals, like things you like to do before a show, or you sit down and
so I'll steam sometimes, and hydrate, just chill. I like to just chill out, kind of get in the zone a little bit. So normally, say a show's at 7:30 or whatever, I'll go from 7, I'll get into costume and I'll just chill for the last kind of 30 minutes. A lot of panto friends will say to me, you're ready so early, you make me nervous. I'm like, yeah, but I just like to be in costume and just relax, so that I'm not rushing about at the last minute or whatever. So just chill out. A couple of Jakemans now and again. I love a Jakeman. That's pretty much it. Steaming, hydrate, chill. Just make sure you're ready.
So I've got a lot of mates who like a lot of noise before a show, and they like to be active. I can't do that. I just have to sit there and think. I
shared a dressing room this year in Panto with Robin Windsor, and he wanted playlists of he was like, let's have a party before the show, and I'm like, no. But actually, it was quite good because it got us. There was 4 of us in the dressing room, and we did have a little dressing room party and kind of loosened up a bit. So it did actually work, to be fair. So, sometimes it's nice. Obviously, I've got my own rituals, but sometimes it's nice to see other people and see theirs and maybe join in, and, it gets you out your comfort zone as well. So something I think we should all really aspire to do.
I did a stand-up show a few months ago in London, and annoyingly, we hadn't actually sold any tickets. So prior to the performance, we were frantically on like last minute ticketing websites trying to sell a few. And I sat in the bar. It was my one-man show, and we managed to get a few audience members in, and they were sort of coming in. I was thinking to myself, I've actually got to do this now. I'm not put together like a pre-show thing now, but because I didn't have an audience to start off with. So I was sort of up in the dressing room thinking, oh, what do I do now? I'm trying to think about my stuff.
Yeah.
But because of the theatre.
Sometimes that can be the best though. Like, I guess if you're not prepared for it, or you're chucked in at the deep end, or sometimes those can be the best shows.
Yeah. I'm doing Guildford Fringe Festival this weekend, and they've sort of said turn up half hour before the show, and I think I like that because I can't sit round and
get nervous.
Yeah, a mate of mine runs a theatre in Newbury, and they had a comedian there a few months ago who rocked up. It was Jimmy Carr. He turned up 2 minutes before the performance.
Wow. Oh no, I couldn't do that. I'd freak out. But then maybe that's what works for him. Maybe he's been like, he doesn't like sitting about in the dressing room or whatever. That would freak me out a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But if it works for him, it works for him. I
mean, the manager was freaking out because he was like, 2 minutes before the show, Jimmy wasn't there. He was with his phone and his watch, and where is he? There's an audience waiting.
Yeah.
And he just ran through the front door and ran upstairs, got changed, and went on. But I mean, I couldn't do that a bit. I'm not really like a city round. Like, I can't sit around and think. I have to be doing something, but I don't want sort of too much noise. Who would you like to work with at some point? I mean, is anyone you'd like to sing with, act with?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why. Gillian Anderson just popped into my head. I'm going to go with that. No, I watch Sex Education. I love the show. And I really like her in that. And I think she's quite funny. But there's a lot like, God, I don't know. Chris Pratt would be cool to hang about with, I think. I think he'd be quite funny. Don't know. Any of the Avenger people. Any.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. Like, there's lots of actors that I admire and love watching, and even like I went to the Summertime Ball a couple of weekends ago, and some of the performers were just incredible. Like, you know, your George Ezras and Ed Sheeran, Harry Styles, Becky Hill. You know, like, there was just such incredible artists there that you just think to yourself, oh man, I wish I could sing with them or be on stage up there now or do that kind of thing. And it is, it's anybody really. Yeah, kind of cool.
So on 31st of July, you're doing Symphonic musicals in Cheltenham.
Yes,
Tell me a bit about that project and how it came about.
So it came about, so Greg, the MD, was working with friends of mine, and he just was looking for artists, and I think they put me forward for it. But it was, so that kind of, I think it was through friends of friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, actually. It's going to be good to sing with an orchestra and just get to sing all the sort of older musicals, because I've done a lot of newer ones, and like maybe like your Les Misses and Phantoms and things like that, but I've never sang anything from like The King and I or Carousel or there's Oklahoma. Actually, I tell lies. I have sang Oklahoma before once, but yeah, so it'll be really nice just to do that in that space, because we were there recently with this tour, and it's just a lovely space, a lovely area as well of the country, and I think the added aspect of having the orchestra will also be really nice as well.
Yeah. So you're on tour at the moment. How long have you been on tour for now?
We've been on tour since March with a small break in April. So quite a while. So we've got a few more nights. We'll get 4 more shows, including tonight, left. So it's at the end of it. I think I'll get post-tour blues, I think, because I've really, really enjoyed myself. I've really enjoyed being out on the road and being with Jonathan and doing the show again. And I can't actually, as you can hear, background, which I can't turn off. I did look earlier, but I can't turn it off. The speaker's on the roof. So I'm afraid you're going to have to listen to me. But so I will miss it. I will miss it.
So how did the show that you're doing at the moment come about? It's been around for a couple of years now, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, Jonathan and I, we just met. We met at a gig in Glasgow once, and then got on pretty well, and then he called me up one time and asked if I'd stand in for him in another gig up in Glasgow, which I did. And then we sang together at a gig in London with Lucy Kay and Charlotte Giaconelli. And then since then, we just, get in touch. And when the opening on this tour come up, he called me up and asked me if I'd do it. And I said yes. And we just got on really well. It's sometimes like touring with a big brother, which can be quite quite fun. But no, we got on great, and I think the fans like that as well. They kind of, we feed off them, but they feed off us as well. Like just having a good time on stage, and it's really, really nice.
So what's the touring life like? Being on the road all the time, waking up in a new venue. What is that like? Is it as hectic as it sounds?
Yeah. No, it's good though. Like the thing is, that's like, as I said earlier, we're in Whitley Bay today and it's lovely and the weather's nice, and I'm going to go and get an ice cream before the sound check just because I can. But it's just really nice, and I get to see a lot of the country that I wouldn't get to see otherwise, and just like places that I've never been either. And on this tour, we've actually been going around in a motorhome, which has been quite random, but also really fun as well, because we get to do different places and wake up in different kind of areas, but even park up in really nice scenic areas as well, which has been fun. And so it's just mental, but good at the same time.
So in all the madness of this industry and show business, and sometimes like the negativity of it, how do you keep sane? How do you sort of take a break from it sometimes?
I just go home.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds, I've got a really good core group of friends. I love seeing my family. I've got a little dog as well. Well, my parents have got a little dog, but he likes me better than them, so he's mine. But no, it's just doing normal stuff. The occasional holiday. I love to go to London, see shows, things like that. And just chill. The same ways. Love reading books. Love TV. Love watching movies. So it's just lots of different random stuff. I would say I go to the gym, but I haven't been in about a year, so that would be a lie. But sometimes I go to the gym. But just chill, basically.
So what has the past 2 years been like for you? I mean, a couple of years ago, the industry came to a grinding halt. What has that been like for you? How have you sort of kept yourself motivated without the industry there?
I think it was quite hard at the time. And at the time I owned a house. So I'd done up my house, I'd done up the garden, painted the outside of the house, done all the jobs that I'd never had time to do. And then I sold the house. So that was a bit random. I didn't plan to sell the house. The circumstances just seemed right. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. Because I was out on tour last year. I was away doing Panto, and then I'm out on tour this year. And just thought, I don't need a house. Don't need grass to cut. So did that. I looked after the kids in the family. I actually went back to work as well. I went and done, I used to be a care worker before Britain's Got Talent. And when the second run of after Christmas, we had sort of like the second lockdowns and the tier system and things like that. And I thought, you know what? I'm bored, and I can't continue to do nothing. So I went back to work, and I worked for about 7 months for the company that I used to work for before Britain's Got Talent. And it was good. It was nice just to sort of switch off from the madness and just, get up and go to work and have a purpose and things like that. So it was good. It was good.
Do you have like a favourite song that you like to sing? A song that really gets suits your voice really well. You can use all parts of your voice.
Oh, I don't know. I love singing Anthem, but I feel like that's a kind of cliche answer. A lot. Actually, Waving Through the Window is a nice. So we do a good duet version of that. I like singing it. Les Mis, Bring 'Em Home. I love Bring 'Em Home. And then if I go for non-musical theatre, I love like country music. I sing a Keith Urban song called Somebody Like You, and I like that. It's nice and sort of upbeat, chilled out. So there's quite a lot a lot of music I like singing. I just like singing, I think.
Yeah.
That's pretty much.
What is your advice to anyone in trying to get into this industry? What advice would you give to them?
I think, as I mentioned before, although I didn't formally train, I've had to learn on the job as such, and I think that because of that, my first go-to with people is to say, if you know you want to do this, go and train, or go and learn as much as you possibly can from whatever avenue you can, so that you're better prepared for the industry. Because I went from being normal, I've never been normal, but I went from a normal life to being in the industry overnight. And it was a very, very steep learning curve. And I think I wouldn't change it for me, but yeah, advice-wise for anyone else, I'd say go and learn as much as you can so that you're prepared for the industry, because the more you know, the easier it is. So it's just the same with everything, I guess. So pretty much that would be my advice, I think.
Yeah, I didn't train formally because I convinced myself I wouldn't get into drama school. When I was at college, I thought I'm not going to get in, it's too hard. So I went to uni and thought I'll do 3 years there, then do a postgrad. But then COVID happened. But I sometimes look back and I think, if I went to drama school, would it have been easier?
Yeah.
Because, you see a lot of, normally it's considered being the most standard route into the industry. It doesn't guarantee you work, but the chances of you landing a West End gig is probably more likely.
Yeah. Well, it's the same with anything else. Like you go to, I don't know, engineering college, you're going to become an engineer. It's just, that's the way it's geared towards you going into a certain industry. And I think, it obviously makes it slightly easier if you have like-minded people around as well. Like if you go to drama school, then everyone there is going to love drama or want to do drama. So even if like the teachers don't give you the information you need, sometimes your peers can. So like they'll learn something and be like, oh, let's go here tonight because there's a casting director who's going to be in the audience or whatever. So it's just those sort of things. And a lot of times in this industry, I've got work from who I know, not what I know. And I think there's a lot to be said for that as well, but again, it's just, sometimes it's your luck or your timing or whatever, but knowledge itself, like if you know how to do certain things and be in the industry and so sing and dance and act already, then you're not having to learn on the job. So it could be slightly easier, I guess.
Yeah. I suppose one of those industries where you can't really if you want the work, you can't really sit around and sort of do nothing. You've got to put yourself out there. I think that's one of the reasons why I started writing my own show, because I thought, well, I can't sit here waiting for my agent to give me that phone call. I've got to put myself out there. And that's sort of what I'm doing with the show I did in London, and what I'm doing in Guildford is just getting my own self out there.
That's it.
And I realise it's not the industry that's necessarily made out to be. Like, yes, you can go and be really successful, but you've got to work for that. It may take me that bit longer than somebody who went to Arts Ed or Mountview, but that's not to say it's not going to happen. I've just got to work that bit extra harder for it.
And as you say, though, sometimes people that go to these schools it doesn't automatically guarantee a successful career either. You've got to put in the extra work as well. So, yeah.
What other plans have you got for this year? I mean, I know you're not necessarily allowed to say anything, but have you got stuff lined up?
Yeah, I've got some stuff. So Jonathan and I are doing another gig in the Isle of Wight Proms. I've got Cheltenham on the end of July. And then I've got a few other gigs. I've got a gig in Wales, middle of August, in Pembury Proms, with my good friend Christina Bianco. She's singing as well, which is going to be fun because I love performing with her. And and then just some other things that I can't actually remember off the top of my head. So,
you're doing Panto this year?
Yes, I am, but I'm not allowed to say anything about it yet because it's not been announced.
Oh, okay.
But I'm doing one, so keep your ears and eyes peeled.
Good. So I know you've got a show tonight, so I'm going to let you get on and get ready for that. But thank you for chatting to me today and taking your time to come and chat. It's nice to meet you. It's been lovely to chat. Good. And good luck with the rest of the tour.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Tom. See you soon. Bye. Bye.